Welcome to Pain in the Grass, the official Lawn Pride podcast, where we dig deep into the real problems hiding in your yard. From weeds to grubs to mystery brown spots, we've got the dirt. Let's grow better together.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are digging into the research today, really trying to give you that shortcut to being well informed. Have you ever looked at your lawn, maybe in spring, and just wondered why things aren't, quite taking off like you expected? Well, the answer might literally be right under your feet. Today, we are going underground, talking about this hidden thermostat that basically controls every blade of grass: soil temperature.
It really is. It's probably the single most critical factor for turf health overall. But it gets ignored a lot, doesn't it? Because you can't easily see it or feel it.
Get out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. So we've pulled together insights from sources looking at lawn care, agriculture, and especially the climate in places like North Carolina, the transition zone. Understanding the soil temperature thing really dictates almost everything. When to plant, when to fertilize.
When things might just, die off in the summer heat.
Precisely. Success or failure often hinges on it.
So our mission today, let's cut through those arbitrary calendar dates people tend to follow. We want to give you the real data, the underground advantage. We're focusing on why soil temp is, like you said, maybe the single most important factor for seed germination and definitely for root health.
And it's fascinating how common the mistake is. We all get that feeling, right? Maybe late February, early March.
Oh yeah, that first warm spell, fall, spring.
That's it, fall, spring. You get a few days in the 60s, feels nice, birds are singing, and you think, okay, time to seed, time to fertilize.
You grab the spreader, feeling optimistic.
But you're relying on the air temperature. That's the trap.
Yeah, because the air can swing wildly. It can be 65 one day and, 35 the next morning. The ground, though, it doesn't react that fast.
Not at all. The ground is essentially this giant insulator. Think of it like a thermal flywheel. It takes a huge amount of energy, sustained energy, to warm it up after winter. And conversely, it holds on to heat deep into the fall, long after the air starts cooling down.
So air temp is jumpy, but soil temp is deliberate.
Yeah.
Steady.
Deliberate is a good word. It's stable. And because of that stability, that slow change, it's the only reliable indicator of what the roots are actually experiencing and what they're capable of doing. I mean, if the soil is still cold, say 40 degrees Fahrenheit from winter, the roots are basically asleep. They're dormant. They just can't effectively take up water or nutrients no matter how warm and sunny it feels above ground.
Okay, so if you're serious about your lawn, you need to stop just glancing at the weather forecast.
Right.
And maybe invest in a pretty simple tool. A soil thermometer.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the most valuable and honestly cheapest tools you can get for serious lawn care. It gives you that real data point.
Okay, but let me push back a little. How practical is that, really? I mean, doesn't your yard have microclimates? Like the sunny spot versus the shady spot. Is one thermometer reading enough?
That's a fair question. And yes, microclimates definitely exist. A slope facing south will warm up faster than a spot under a big oak tree, for sure. But the key isn't necessarily pinpoint accuracy for every square inch. It's about understanding the trend, the consistent average. You're usually measuring, say, 2 or maybe 3 inches deep. You're looking for that temperature to hold steady for a few days, not just a one-off spike.
So it's about getting the general picture, being in the ballpark.
Exactly. Knowing the general thermal state of your soil puts you way ahead. It's vastly better than just guessing based on the calendar or the air temperature.
Got it. Okay, let's dig into the two main types of grass we wrestle with, especially here in this transition zone area. The cool season grasses versus the warm season ones.
Right. The early risers and the sun worshipers, as you put it.
Yeah. Let's start with the cool season types. For most folks around here, Charlotte, the triad, that usually means tall fescue, right?
Predominantly, yes. Tall fescue is the workhorse cool season grass here. And as the name implies, these grasses like it cooler. They're really designed for more moderate climates. Their best growth periods, their peak performance, happens in the mild temperatures of spring and, crucially, fall.
So what's their ideal temperature range? If I've got a fescue lawn, what soil temps mean it's happy and growing well?
You're looking for the soil to be consistently in that, say, 50 to 65 degree Fahrenheit window. That's the sweet spot for root growth, nutrient uptake, everything.
And what happens when it gets hotter? Because it definitely gets hotter here.
Right. Once that soil temperature starts climbing consistently above 75 degrees and certainly over 85, Fescue really starts to struggle. It shifts gears. It moves out of growth mode and into survival mode.
Survival mode. What does that actually look like? Is it just slower growth?
It's more than that. It's a whole stress response. The roots often stop growing deeper. They might even start to die back. The plant pours energy into just trying to cool itself by transpiring water. This makes it super vulnerable to things like fungal diseases.
Brown patch. The summer nightmare for fescue owners.
Exactly. Brown patch thrives in that heat and humidity when the grass is already stressed. That beautiful lawn from May just sort of melts away in July or August. It's because the soil is simply too hot for its fundamental biology.
Okay, this explains why timing is so critical for fescue, especially over seeding. Sources always hammer this point. The best time to seed fescue here is late summer, early fall, like late August through October. It feels counterintuitive, seeding when summer's just ending. But why is that window so effective?
It comes right back to that insulating property of the soil. Think about it. You want warm soil for the seeds to germinate quickly, right?
Makes sense.
But you want cool air for the young grass seedlings to grow without heat stress. In late August and September, the air temperatures are starting to moderate. Less brutal heat, maybe less humidity. But the soil, it's been baking all summer. It's still holding a lot of warmth. Often it's right in that ideal 60 to 70 degree range.
So warm soil, cool air, the perfect combination.
The perfect nursery. It gives those new roots the longest possible runway weeks of good growing conditions to get established before winter cold arrives and puts them under stress again.
It's like a warm blanket underground while the weather up top is pleasant. Okay, that makes sense. Now let's flip to the other team. The warm season grasses. Bermuda, zoysia, centipede. The ones that actually like the heat.
Yeah, the sun worshippers, they operate on a completely different schedule. They are built to handle summer heat and often drought conditions much better. Their main growing season is late spring, right through the hottest part of the summer. They peak when fescue is struggling the most.
And their temperature needs are different too, right, for germination?
Totally different. For warm season seeds like Bermuda or zoysia to really pop, you need the soil consistently up around 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, minimum.
65 to 70 just to get started.
Yeah.
What about for their best growth?
For peak growth, when they're really spreading and looking lush, they love it even warmer. Think 75 up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit in the soil, that's their prime time.
Which explains why trying to plant Bermuda, say, in March or early April, even if the air feels warm for a day or two, is
a recipe for frustration. Yeah, the soil just isn't ready. Planting too early means the seed might just sit there, vulnerable to rot or washing away. Germination will be slow, patchy, weak. You need to wait for that consistent soil warmth signal.
Patience is key there. Okay, what's the big drawback for these heat lovers then?
Well, it's the flip side of the cool season problem. They generally don't tolerate cold well. They thrive in summer. But as soon as soil temperatures consistently dip below about 50 degrees,
You shut down.
they go dormant completely. They lose all their green color and turn that characteristic straw brown after the first significant frost. And they stay that way all winter. If you're accustomed to fescue's year-round greenness, seeing your whole lawn turn brown can be a bit of a shock.
Right. So their ideal planting window gets pushed back quite a bit. Late spring, early summer, mid-April to early June, maybe?
Generally, yes. You have to wait until the soil has truly warmed up and intends to stay warm. You're waiting for that underground green light.
Okay, this brings us squarely to the challenge here in North Carolina, particularly the Piedmont areas like Charlotte, the Triad. We're in this transition zone.
The infamous transition zone, yeah. It's called that for a reason. It's this belt across the country where it's generally too hot in the summer for cool season grasses to be truly happy without a lot of help. But it's also too cold in the winter for warm season grasses to stay green year-round.
So we can grow both types, but neither one is perfectly suited.
That's the crux of it.
Wow.
Both can survive, but neither thrives effortlessly throughout the entire year. This creates what you call the North Carolina dilemma for homeowners.
So you had to choose your compromise, basically. What are the practical options?
Well, option A is you aim for year-round green, which usually means choosing tall fescue. But if you choose fescue, you have to accept you're signing up for high maintenance during the summer. You'll be dealing with heat stress, potential disease, careful watering.
And probably overseeding every fall, just to repair the summer damage.
Almost certainly. It becomes an annual renovation project. It requires significant input.
Okay, what's option B?
Option B is you embrace the summer performers. Bermuda or zoysia. You get a fantastic, lush, relatively low-maintenance lawn during the hottest months. They handle drought better, less disease pressure usually, but you have to accept the trade-off. That lawn will go brown and dormant for, maybe 4 or 5 months over winter and early spring.
A brown lawn from November to April, basically.
Yeah, give or take. So the critical point we keep circling back to is whichever path you choose, your maintenance plan, when you fertilize, when you put down weed control, when you seed, it all has to be timed according to the soil temperature needs of that specific grass type.
Forget the calendar date. Follow the soil thermometer.
That's the smarter way. Absolutely.
Okay, let's make this really practical then. Let's talk about some key seasonal benchmarks based on soil temperature data.
Yeah.
Forget March 15th or September 1st. What temps should we watch for?
All right, benchmark number one, probably the most important financially, is spring activation. This happens when the soil temperature consistently hits 55 degrees Fahrenheit.
55 degrees. Okay, what's kicking in at 55?
Two really critical things are happening around that 55-degree mark, usually measured at about a 2-inch depth. First, for cool season grass like fescue, this is when it really starts waking up from winter dormancy and can actively start using nutrients. Second, and this is crucial for weed control, 55 degrees is the germination temperature for many summer annual weeds, especially the big one, crabgrass.
Ah, okay. So this is all about timing your pre-emergent herbicide.
Precisely. Pre-emergence work by creating a chemical barrier in the top layer of soil that stops weed seeds from successfully sprouting. Timing is everything here. If you apply it too early, say when the soil is only 45 or 50 degrees, that barrier starts degrading before the crabgrass even thinks about germinating. By the time the soil hits 55 and the seeds sprout, your protection might be too weak.
And if you apply it too late, say the soil's already 60 or 65 degrees,
then you've missed the window. The crabgrass is likely already germinated. Pre-emergents don't kill existing weeds, just prevent new ones, so you're basically wasting product and money. Hitting that 55-degree soil temp window is key for effective pre-emergent control.
That is super actionable. Okay, benchmark 2, summer management. This kicks in when soil temps get into that danger zone, above 75 degrees F.
Right. For fescue lawns, hitting 75 degrees consistently is a signal to completely change your strategy. You shift into defense, into survival mode. You definitely want to back off on heavy nitrogen fertilizer. Pushing growth when it's that hot just stresses the plant more and invites disease.
So less feeding. What else?
You focus on conservation, raise your mowing height. Letting the grass grow taller helps shade the soil and the vulnerable crown of the plant, keeping it a bit cooler. And you change your watering. Deep and infrequent is the mantra. Encourage those roots to go down, seeking cooler soil and moisture rather than staying shallow where it's scorching hot.
I think anyone with fescue in this region has seen that July or August meltdown. That must be when the soil temp really crosses that threshold.
That's exactly when it happens.
Right.
It's often not just a lack of water, it's that the plant physiologically cannot cope with the soil heat load anymore. You're just trying to help it limp through until cooler weather returns.
Makes sense. Okay, final benchmark, the really good one, fall rejuvenation.
Ah, yes, the sweet spot. This is when soil temperatures cool back down into that ideal 60 to 70 degree range. Usually this is happening from September through maybe early November around here. For fescue, this is basically paradise. The soil is warm enough for rapid root and shoot growth, but the air is cool, reducing stress.
Right.
It's the absolute best time of year for overseeding, for aerating, for fertilizing to help it recover from summer and build energy reserves for winter.
So you're leveraging that stored summer heat in the soil combined with the cooler air.
Precisely. Maximum growth potential with minimum stress. That's why fall is renovation season for fescue.
Okay, let's pull this all together. We've established pretty clearly, I think, that understanding and actually tracking your soil temperature gives you this underground advantage. It lets you make sure that expensive seeds or treatments are going down when the lawn is biologically ready to actually use them effectively.
Yeah, it stops you from wasting time, effort, and money based on guesswork or just following a generic calendar. Real turf professionals, the expertise isn't just knowing what to apply, it's knowing when, based on actual conditions. They're monitoring local soil temps, maybe using online resources that track it, and adjusting their plans. Managing lawns successfully here in the transition zone really demands navigating these sometimes counterintuitive temperature relationships.
It really is the difference between guessing and knowing, isn't it? So the next time you're looking at your lawn, whether it's struggling fescue in August or maybe dormant Bermuda in February, remember what's going on beneath the surface. That soil temperature is quietly running the show, dictating growth, nutrient uptake, timing. and it's giving you the real instructions if you know how to read them.
It's the constant, powerful variable. You really can't afford to ignore it if you want good results.
Which leads us perfectly into our final thought for you to chew on today. If the soil's slow, deliberate temperature changes orchestrate the entire life and death cycle of your lawn, teaching us perhaps that the most stable metrics are often the most reliable ones. What are the processes in your life, maybe natural processes, maybe business decisions, are you currently mistiming because you're too focused on the visible, rapidly fluctuating world above ground, instead of maybe prioritizing the stable, deliberate signals happening beneath your feet?
Thank you for listening to the Pain in the Grass podcast, sponsored by Lawn Pride of North Charlotte, Huntersville, your go-to name in turf care for homeowners and businesses seeking beauty, quality, and reliability, powered by family and fueled by passion. Until next time, make sure to take care of that pain in the grass.